human beings have an instinctive need, calling to contribute to others, to contribute to society, to their community, to the world. In the West, a lot of times that's where we get our meaning and our purpose for our lives. Like what, a lot of times in the West here in America, it's people ask you, what do you do? How much do you make? You know, and there might be pros and cons to that, but to a certain degree is what is your contribution to society, right? That is a lot of times what our work, our job, our career, our mission, our business is what is your contribution to society. And when you look at people like, you know, Abraham Lincoln, if it's Tesla, if it's Elon Musk, if it's Steve Jobs, if it's Alexander the Great, if it's anybody you could imagine in the past, Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jackson, right? Whatever it is, their life's work was their contribution to society, to the world. Their legacy is what they did. And it's not only what they're remembered for once they die, right? Some of those people are still alive. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, whatever it is, whoever it is, even if they're still alive, their work was their contribution to society in the given moment, right? And just like you are only as good as your last at bat, it's great if you did great things in your life this far. That should give you confidence and certainty that you can do great things now and in the future, right? But a lot of times we got to be emotionally connected to our contribution to society now, right? What is our service today, this week, this month, this year, this decade? What is your life's work? What is your life's meaning? And it doesn't always need to be connected to job or career or work or money, right? A lot of times here in the West, in America, that is what we do, but it could be selfless, right? Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, whatever it is, whatever your religious, spiritual beliefs are, Jesus is a great example. Jesus is a great example of selflessness. Nothing he did was a business or you know, Gandhi is also as an example. Mother Teresa is a great example, right? Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, right? These people dedicate their life to serving others in a vast variety of different ways, and that's what their life meant, and that's what their legacy is that carries forward to today and beyond, right? And so it's a spiritual need. It's an instinctive need for us to want to contribute to others, right? And that is why if you don't work, if you don't have a job, if you don't have a mission, if you don't have a business, if you don't have a career, especially here in the West, and maybe you're not doing charity, you're not doing volunteer work, you're not contributing to your church or your community politics or whatever it is, because there's other things that you could do other than a job or a career or business. But here in the West, in America, that's the common one. That's how we tie a lot of the purpose and meaning of our lives to that job, to that career, to that business, to that mission, to that service that we're doing to the world. And if you aren't doing that, right, and you're being selfless or being selfish, right, all suffering comes from being selfish. I'll say it again. All suffering comes from being selfish. Not to talk crap, but my dad, right, I've seen it with drugs. I've seen it with homeless people, right? I've seen it with a variety of different people who struggle with different mental illness, right? If, you know, a lot of times, most of the time, if you're not having some sort of purpose to your life, meaning to your life, some sort of work, some sort of job, some sort of service, some sort of mission, some sort of career, some sort of something, right? Your life seems meaningless and purposeless. And then you get caught up in your head, right? And if you're in your head, you're dead. If you're in your head, you're dead, right? You're not in your heart, you're not in your soul, right? And so simply as this, the whole point of this video is what is your, and my whole point I want to wrap up there is all suffering comes from selfishness. You have if you're thinking about yourself, because if you're suffering, you're thinking about yourself, right? The reason why when the crucifixion, when Jesus was dying on the cross, right? One of at least my perspective, I can't speak for him, but one of the reasons he could bear that cross, right, is because he was doing it for the world. He was doing it for others. He wasn't thinking about himself and how much the pain was, and he was just dwelling in that, right? He was thinking about what he was doing it for, right? A lot of great successful business people talk about what is something you're willing to dedicate your life to that's worth the suffering. Jordan Peterson talks about this, Alex Hormozy, Tony Robbins, many great people before them, right? If you see somebody great, it's because they stand on the shoulders of giants, amen? Right? But what are you dedicating your life to that's worth the suffering, that's worth the cost, right? And a lot of times it doesn't have to be about money. It doesn't have to be about capitalism. It doesn't have to be a career or job or a business. Here in the West, in America, a lot of times it is. But what is it that you're dedicating your life to that gives your life a sense of meaning, a sense of purpose, your contribution to the world, to society? And I guarantee if you're focused on that and serving others, and you're not focused on yourself and your own problems and just dwelling on your suffering, and you're focused on contributing and having a sense of purpose and contributing something to your community, to others, to society, I guarantee a lot of that suffering, a lot of that pain will dwindle away. You won't feel it, right? So with that being said, drop in the comments below. I want you to journal, pray, meditate on this now. What is your contribution to the world? What is your contribution to others? What is your contribution to society? What are you doing today, right in this moment? What are you doing today? What are you doing this week, this month, this year, this decade to contribute to the world? Because that, a lot of times, is going to make your life so fulfilling, so meaningful, so purposeful, and so whole. Because you know that you're offering, you're a gift to the world and to others. Leave the world better than you found it. Amen. Amen. Drop in the comments below. Take some time on that. We're out here in Mission Viejo, California, Orange County, baby. God bless you. Peace be with you. Peace out.